Welcome back, and we're going to create purlins on the gable side and the full length or along the length of our structure. Now, to get the gut to macro or purlin creation macros, you come to macro gallery here and pick on structural members. If I minimize that, you can be able to see I have structural. If I come to structural members here, I'll be able to see it. If I click on that, and I'll be able to pick on create guts. So I want to create guts along the length of our structure. So I want to pick to create the guts. I'll pick the first column and stretch out and pick the last column here. Remember, our column has been detached and we have a splice joint here. So purlin's placement will be read up to the point where the two columns get connected. So it will be read as a single column. Then we'll move on top there. So let me just click on the last one, and we'll have purlins in place. So if I zoom closer, you can be able to see the position of this purlin will make it very harder to create a connection between the purlin and the gut and the column. So let me just edit that. So just pick any part or any of the guts and press letter M and enter on your keyboard like that. So that will bring in or will present to us an editor dialog box, and we will be able to adjust measurements from here. So from the bottom here, this one from here, from the 0 level to the next, to the top end of this particular last gut, I'll be able to give it an offset of 400 right there. Same applies to the far end on top there. I'll key in here. So the maximum I'll define that the purlin should not go past a meter. So I'm going to click apply and give it an OK. So you can see there's a slight offset right there, and also we have a slight offset because you don't want to put the purlin on top of this splice. So it will be harder to create a cleat there. So let me just go ahead and create another other purlin. So you can see COMOSYS will be able to detect that in between these two purlins coming together with this column, there is a connection that will need to be done. So you can see it has been split, and this is stretched at 6 meter, then 6 meter. How interesting is that? So let me just go ahead and click create guts and pick on the first column and move all the way to the second column right there. So let me just zoom out and pick the last one right there. So we have guts in place, and right click once again, and you can see this purlin or this gut is right on top of this particular splice. So this will make it very harder to create a connection between or placing a cleat on top of a splice. That will not be a good practice. So let me just press letter M and click enter. So once I've done so, I'll have my editor dialog box in place, and I'll be able to modify that or key in the right dimensions that will help me offset that purlin to the right direction. So let me just key in 400, and on top here I can also add 400 and give at most a meter in between the guts. So I'll go ahead and click apply and give it an OK. So you can see that has given it an offset of 400. So we are away from the splice joint there. So if I come up here, you can see I have my guts on top there, and you can see how interesting this is. So what I can do, I can always press Control A and select everything and enter on my keyboard like that. So once I've done so, I'm going to click on profiles, then come to purlins. So I'll come to guts. I'll just scroll down and pick the member, or I think this is IP 160. Let me just scroll out, and there we are. I'll double click on that and click close. So I want to mirror this on the other end. So I'm going to right click, close that. I'm going to right click and come to spatial copy and pick on mirror. So once I picked on mirror, my mirror line is still active. So I'm going to click run. So if once I've clicked run, I'll be able to copy everything on the other end. If I close that and go to that direction, I'll be able to see I have my purlins already copied this far end. as easy as that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place purlins or guards on the cable side. So let's start with the side that I think will be somehow complicated one, because I had created the extension here that goes up and get connected to the top cord of our truss, so that we'll cover this with iron sheet and nicely. So remember, the column could not go all the way that way, so we had to create some details that will help us do that nicely. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick on the guards and pick this member as a column and move all the way to the last one, which is here. So once I've done so, I'll be able to create guards there. And another thing, as usual, you'll be able to see there's a slight off points or off placement of the guards. So if any needs adjustments, you just double click, you just click and press letter M and enter, and you'll be able to adjust that. So you can see here we have a joint, and that's move all the way to that spot. And here also we have a joint. Let me just I've noticed something, because this hasn't been read as a column. So what we are going to do, I'm going to just click undo. So once I've clicked undo, I'm going to just go ahead and start doing it once again. I'll click on that and right click, and we have that in place. So if I click on that once again and click on this and right click, I'll have that in place, because the height varies, so that will have to be rectified. So I'll right click once again and come back to create. I'll pick on that member and pick on this member here, and I'll have that one created. So I'll come to this member here and pick on this member here, and I have that created, but in the opposite direction, which is not right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click and click undo and come back and pick it from here, start my selection from that, and end it at that, and that location still is not being created, because maybe it has not detected the instructions I'm trying to bring in. So you can see that it's not responding. So let's get another way of doing that. So let me come here and click on that, and if you see, that's how sometimes it gets harder to do that. So that should not worry you. We'll find a way on how to maneuver or to create ways on working with this. So let me just turn that around like that and undo. Let me undo that. So if I come this far end here, also I think we'll have a same result. So that has been created, and right click and turn that around like that. So we have our guards in place. So if we start laying or placing the sheets, it will not be something harder to comprehend or understand. So let me just come to that spot and pick on this member and pick on this member here, and we have our purlins in place. So right click and come to right click and click interrupt. So let's move to the bottom end here. So I'll pick on this member, pick on that, and pick on this member here, column, and we will have created purlins here, or guards. Right click, and we want some adjustment of the splices. Select on that, press letter M here and enter. So once you've entered that, we'll go ahead and edit or feed in our preferred dimensions here. So I'll feed in here 400, and utmost length of center to center distances will be meter. So I'll key in 400 right there and click apply and give it an OK. So you have the purlins in place. I'll do the same thing here. I'll start all the way from this far end, and move somewhere here. Click on that. So we have purlins in place. So I'm noticing something here. So we can always go ahead and delete this, because you don't need that. You don't need this. You don't need that. And you don't need this one also. You can always explode this, so that when you load your settings, they will come up because you've not exploded. So let me just select on that, press letter M and enter on my keyboard, and give some time to bring the editor dialog box so that we can be able to edit everything to match our customized settings. So let me just key in a meter there, and on top here I key in 400, and I click apply and give it an offset. And if I zoom out, I'll be able to have these in place. So from there you'll be able to create connections. So this is how it's done, and it is as simple as that. So if you see your drawing, if you zoom out, is clogged like that, you can always go ahead and disable these points. So if you bring it closer, you'll be able to see. If we zoom out, you'll be able to see you have these in place, and nicely done. So on the next presentation, we'll be doing a connection between the purlin and the columns. So let's meet then, and bye bye, and please try this by yourself in COMOSYS and enjoy the tools available and very interesting to use and easily accessible in COMOSYS. Bye bye, and let's meet then.